Have you ever looked at a sink full of dishes and thought, why don't they just do the dishes? If you're a parent, you've probably asked that question. If you're a manager, you've probably asked a version of that question. And if you've ever been responsible for anything, you've asked that question. Why won't they just do the thing they're supposed to do? After all, the expectations were clear, weren't they? The tools were provided, the process was explained, everybody agreed that doing the dishes was important. So why aren't the dishes getting done? Today I want to introduce one of my favorite problem-solving tools. When I'm stuck on a problem, I often take it out of its normal environment and place it somewhere completely different. I take problems from home and place them in a business context. I take problems from work and place them in the family. And suddenly assumptions that were invisible become visible. So today we're going to talk about dishes. But as you'll soon discover, this episode isn't really about dishes. But let's imagine a family. The family has a system. There are procedures, there are expectations. Everyone agrees that dishes are important. And most of the time, leadership, the parents, assume the dishes are getting done. Why? Well, because they're busy. They're focused on other things. They're not standing in the kitchen all day. They're operating on trust. Then one day, visitors are coming over. Suddenly, dishes matter. Suddenly, everyone rushes into the kitchen. Suddenly, emotions run high, and the question becomes, why didn't somebody tell me sooner that the dishes weren't done? But here's where it gets interesting. If we're honest, most of the time we're not upset because we wanted to do the dishes ourselves. We're upset because we wanted enough warning that we could make somebody else do the dishes. And that's a very different thing. Now, let's flip perspectives with this in mind. Imagine you're the person who's supposed to do the dishes. Nobody thanks you when they're done. Nobody notices when they're done. Nobody celebrates clean dishes. But if they're not done, everybody notices. And if you do them imperfectly, there's a good chance you'll be told that you did it wrong. So from your perspective, the experience becomes, when I do them, nobody notices. When I don't do them, everybody notices. When I try, I may get criticized. And when visitors arrive, everyone gets upset. And suddenly the question changes. Instead of asking, why won't they do the dishes? We start asking, why would they want to? Now, let's move the dishes into a different context. Imagine a restaurant. What makes money? Well, that's serving the food, right? Customers come in, food goes out, revenue happens. It's simple. But what about the dishes? Nobody walks into a restaurant and says, wow, look at those beautifully sanitized plates. Nobody gives 5-star ratings because the dishwasher showed up. Nobody says, let's double the dishwasher's salary because the dishes are clean. In fact, many businesses quietly treat those jobs as low value. Until the health inspector shows up. Suddenly, the dishes become one of the most important things in the entire building because if the dishes aren't clean, the restaurant doesn't operate. The work is invisible, but it was never unimportant. Now think about your workplace or your situation. Think about documentation, maintenance, compliance, training, cleaning, backups, quality control. Most organizations treat these exactly like dishes. Nobody notices them when they're done. Everybody notices them when they're missing. And yet they are the very things that allow the visible work to happen. That is where many leaders make a critical mistake. They delegate the work and then stop appreciating the work. Here's the assumption. Since the task is expected, it no longer requires appreciation. But that assumption is dangerous because people don't just need instructions. People need meaning. People need purpose. People need connection. People need to know that what they do matters. The best employees don't stay because of a checklist. The best employees stay because they feel connected to the mission. Same thing happens in families. Children don't thrive because they received a chore chart. They thrive when they understand how their contribution matters, when they feel seen, when they feel appreciated, when they feel like part of something bigger than themselves. Here's the deeper lesson. Every healthy system depends on work that eventually becomes invisible. The better the work is done, the less people notice it. Think about it. Electricity, plumbing, the internet, clean dishes, payroll, maintenance. When everything is working, nobody thinks about it. And because nobody thinks about it, we stop appreciating it. And because we stop appreciating it, we stop investing in it. And because we stop investing in it, entropy begins. This is true in families. This is true in businesses. This is true in communities. This is true in relationships. So why won't they just do the dishes? Sometimes it's training. Sometimes it's capability. Sometimes it's systems. Sometimes it's resources. But often it's because we've disconnected the work from the purpose. We've delegated the responsibility without maintaining the appreciation. We've assigned the task without communicating the mission. We've expected contribution without helping people feel valued. And eventually people begin to wonder whether what they're doing matters. One of the simplest ways to improve a home, a team, or an organization is to ask, what are the dishes in this space? What are the invisible tasks that hold everything together? And who is doing them? And when was the last time you thanked them? Because every healthy system is built on people doing work that eventually becomes invisible. And if we want that work to continue, we must pair delegation with appreciation, pair responsibility with purpose. And we must remember that the dishes are never really about the dishes. They are about the people carrying them. I'm Stanley Black, and this is the Invite the Best podcast. Until next time, keep looking for hidden assumptions and keep inviting the best.